Hello, my name is Vera, and I am here recording this video for the self-reflection part of the midterm. As you can see, I am wearing my purple dino onesie, and I was really excited because it a little bit reminded me of the gender unicorn from the week 1, and I wanted to focus today on my self-reflecting about gender, so that's why I wore it. My takeaways from this course would be mostly focused on my growing knowledge of gender. Due to my bisexuality, I've spent a lot of time growing up looking into different aspects of sexuality, looking to explore myself sexually and where I fit in with that, and resulted in bisexuality. However, I didn't touch much on gender, and I've always seen myself as a woman, and I define myself as a woman. I know very well I'm not a very stereotypical woman. I'm not one to want to stay at home or like societal expectations of being a woman, but to me that was never bothered. Most of my family worked that way, and I never thought about, because I don't want to be a housewife does not make me a woman. So it was interesting to now take a look at all these other people who believe that you can change your gender and what it means to them and how it results in where they are now. So this mostly began, my fascination for gender in this class, of course, began with the class, and it really started with going through my workbook. And the workbook that I chose was the one by Bornstein, and I was really interested in taking it choosing that workbook over all the other ones because it mentioned world peace in the title, and I thought that it would focus most on how the world would perceive gender and how I could learn about other perspectives on gender, and it does, but more than anything, it turned into this new gender journey of self-discovery, and since working through it, I've learned a lot more about my self-identity, and I'm now beginning to question my own gender, and what gender even means to be anywhere in the society now. I see this as a good thing, and more that I'm learning about it. However, it's not what I expected, and so it was a very fun twist when I've come to realize that I was more interested in asking more questions about myself than really how gender is perceived in the world and how we can make world peace through understanding. Then going through that, we ended up in week 7, and week 7 was focused on transgender identities and with the inclusion of non-binary people, which is awesome. I have one of my friends I have a friend, and they are non-binary, and I followed them through most of their journey, and it was very fascinating to me, but it was more so fascinating to learn about a more overgeneralized view of being non-binary and people who are trans non-binary. So that way I could understand more of what an overall non-binary is, and not just assume that everyone has the same story similar to what my friend had gone through. One of the other things that was focused on would be through the week 7, there was an article by Extra, and in that article was mentioned I'm gonna pull up the quote that was mentioned in the Extra article in week 7 about it. They speak about transgender and non-binary identities, and it says, McLean, who was mentioned in the Extra, says that this is a difficult conversation to have because it is a discussion, ultimately, about people struggling to be free, and if it's a possibility to ever be free from the domination of someone else's definition of who you are, or limited by that. That is their quote. I don't know if it's sure, but that is their quote, and it really struck me most because that was more of the take that I had on gender prior to learning more about it. I mostly saw gender as something that was there, and it shouldn't have been a defining identity. It took a minute to understand the struggles of why people made a huge deal about it, and that really showed me that this is what it means. They're searching to find who they are and where they can come from and what makes them comfortable in expressing themselves and who they are through gender. And that really changed my perspective on it. And now I see it a whole different way in wanting to support the whole movement and understanding where it comes from. Um, One way this is really like learning all about this gender knowledge in my mind. One way it's really affected my life and I've noticed is I have begun to introduce myself with my pronouns, and it sometimes shocks people. I've had quite an array of mixed responses, which is interesting. Some people are like, "Oh yeah, hi," and then respond with their pronouns, and other people are like, "Okay, well, my name is this, and I guess my pronouns are like this," and they like sometimes judge me, but I'm like, I don't know, whatever. And it was kind of interesting to see an array and understand the personalities behind the people and what they've learned and where they come from, to understand how comfortable they are with introducing themselves with pronouns. I've begun to do that after reading the article about how it's personal. The trans community understand that pronouns are a very important part of who they are and how they would choose to express themselves or want to be understood. So I want to make anyone feel comfortable in all situations and understand that I too want to help them with that. Overall, this course has made me change perspective on a lot of things, mostly gender, because that's what I came into the class knowing so little about, and am now continuing to learn so much, and am excited to learn so much more, and I'm enjoying a lot of the class. I love that the articles being chosen are from such a wide array of sources, and I've enjoyed reading every single one of them, and have actually shared quite a few with members of my family. Just be like, hey, read this, learn about it. This is one way that I found a very reliable resource in understanding what these terms are, and some you may see in social media or the news or in other colloquial people using them. So yay, I've loved this course, and I'm very excited to learn more about myself, finishing the workbook, and other weeks to come. Thank you.